Hey everybody, it's Betsy. Today we're doing our Zootopia drawing lesson and we're going to draw the sloths from the DMV scene from Zootopia, and instead of having them hunched over their desks, we're going to draw them during the ending credits where they were dancing. So we're going to go ahead and start with Flash, the boy sloth, on the right, and then we'll fill in Priscilla on the left. So if you want to fold your paper in half just so that you leave enough room between the two, you can do that. But I'm just going to go ahead and start off on, whoops, there we go, on the right side of my paper. So we're going to start off with a fairly small circle, maybe about the size of a quarter. And you can see I'm going around many, many times. Go even closer there. Giving myself lots of options before I take away the ones that I don't like. Doesn't have to be a perfect circle, and obviously it's not very dark because we'll probably erase it later. But you want to start off with something that's generally circular. Then we'll go ahead and put a nose line on the left side. This is a little bit like a crescent moon over here. And then we'll put the eye line, and their eyes, or their heads, are generally looking up ever so slightly. So I'll curve that one up. And then a good reminder not to put the eyes on the side of the head. I usually add a very light oval on the side just to remind me that no eyes, noses, or mouths go over there. Then we'll go ahead and from the back of the circle start adding the neck. And then from the front of the circle as well, we'll add the neck. You don't have to worry about how long these are yet. You can just draw them super long and then we'll adjust later. Then we'll add a shoulder line. This is going to curve right through the neckline. And then we'll continue with the body. You can even continue straight from the neck if you want. And we're going to end in a wider line down here than we did at the shoulders. Then from here is where the legs will separate off, so I'll have a curved line. Whoops, let's get on camera. Curved line going this way. Tiny feet, just an oval for now. And then on this foot, he's stretching out to the side just a little bit. So I'll have our lines go over here, and then another tiny oval for the foot. We can adjust all these shapes later. We want to just get in something so that we kind of know where the feet are going to be and in relation where the arms will be. So he's got his arm lifted up and his upper arm is very short, so you could just put two sort of penguin wings over there. And then the lower part of his arm is much longer. So this one will come all the way up. Put an oval on the end for his hand. And connect that like that. His other arm is extended and holding onto Priscilla's hand, so this part's going to go out this way. And we'll have his hand right there. And I'll leave this on screen for just a few more seconds in case you need to pause it here or make some adjustments. Okay, and then we're going to draw Priscilla on the other side. I'm going to back up a little bit so you can see my entire paper. So we have to get this pretty much same base over here too, and so this is actually going to be on her hand as well, so we'll just draw another arm about the same length as that one. her upper arm. And then we'll need the shoulder line. So from the upper arm, this will curve into the shoulders. The end of her body is going to be about the same size or same place as where his is. And then her other arm might not fit on the paper if I do the original pose, so I'm just going to bring her other arm down here so I can keep it on the paper. And she has one leg that she's standing on, it's a little oval. And then one leg that she's lifting up. So I'm going to put an oval here, and then a smaller oval for her foot. And she has a little bit longer, more graceful neck, so we'll have two lines curving right out of the body. And we'll put her circular head right on top. Should be about the same size as his. So we have our two figures here. We'll zoom in on Priscilla in case you need to see her a little closer, and we'll pause here just for a second in case you need to adjust some of your shapes. Okay, so going back to Flash, let's go ahead and work on his face. I'll zoom in so you can see better. First thing we're going to do is from the crossing point of these two lines, we'll start adding the bridge of his nose. And since he's an animal, he's got a snout that comes out a little bit. So I'm just going to make that whole shape right there and kind of lighten up my lines on the inside. And from underneath his nose, his mouth is going to round up and then come back down. And his eye will be just about above his cheek crease right here. But his eyes are going to be a little bit downward sloped, downward toward the outside. So first we'll just put in his eye socket, and one over here too. You can put his eyebrows right on top of those shapes. Then we'll put his eye on the inside, so we'll have a more rounded shape. But he's always just a bit sleepy, so then we'll put a line to close his eyelids. And put just a tiny, tiny portion of a circle at the very bottom there for his eyes. And then for his nose, it's a little bit like a dog nose. You can put a nostril mark right there. And then we'll fluff out his cheeks a little bit. And then sloths don't have ears, but he's got some hair slicked back. It's not that they don't have ears, but they don't have ears showing. You can erase any lines on the inside that you don't need anymore. There's also a darker color on the nose if you want to use your pencil and start coloring in just around the nose and the mouth. And then in the eyes. Then we'll go ahead and start working on his shirt. So first we'll come around his neck. And give a collar. And we'll have the shape of the tie. It's a little bit like a diamond, like a jewel, like, you know, when you see in cartoons where they're going to steal the giant diamond, one of those diamonds. So that we can put 2 more little lines to show the tie wrapping around his neck. And then we'll draw the longer part of the tie coming down. It's actually going to reach all the way down beyond his pants. I'll back up and show you that in full view. Then we'll go ahead and add his sleeves. So right about where these 2 parts of his arm join up, we'll make a curved line for the sleeve. On both sides there. And then we'll add the seam that will run right into the body of the shirt. And his belt will come right across here. And one more time. And the rest of this is going to be his pants, but they're very baggy, so we're going to add a bunch of wrinkles right there. And then down here by his foot, we'll also add a wrinkle right there. In the detail for his foot, we're going to add 3 long toes. So there's 1, 2, and 3. And there's a little bit of a color separation between the claws and the furry part, so we'll just add some curved lines around the toe. Same thing on the other foot. We'll have a wrinkle right above where the foot is coming out of the pants. And then we'll add those 3 long toes. And we'll separate where the nail comes from the fur. And we'll move back up to the hand. And up here his fingers are going to be curling over, since sloths are mostly grabbing onto trees. We're going to do a little curving claw. There's his pinky. Add another one. And then one more And also his thumb, a little bit lower down here on the palm. And I like to add one little line to show that this part of the hand is in front and that the thumb is in the back. And we'll go ahead and do the other arm. This one he's holding onto Priscilla's hand, so we'll have his pinky claw coming on this side. And his thumb claw coming up here. And his hand is going to be tilted a little bit, so we're going to have some lines coming up and then going back to his body. And the rest of this we won't see because her hand is going to be coming over the side this way. You can put a few more of his finger claws on this side if you want. We won't be able to see all of them probably. I'll zoom into that so you can see a little better. Her thumb might come on this side. And then for her arm, I think I'm going to raise this shoulder a little bit so it flows a little more nicely into there. I'll have to adjust some of my shapes here. And I'll go ahead and add a curved line for where her cardigan ends and her hand comes out. And then we can draw the edge of her cardigan wrapping around from her neck and ending right about where his belt ends. It's going to wrap around her body. And then the seam will also come up and around the shoulder. On the other side too, it'll come around her neck, come down, and it'll end about the same length, going around her body. You can even color in that little gap if you want to. I'll have to move this line over. And then it'll come down this arm. And we'll curve it up this way. And for this hand, she has her fingers curled, so we'll have her claws maybe curling out that way. If you run out of paper, you can choose a different position for her hand. You can even just put it up like Flash's hand is going if you want to. Just a matter of drawing the same thing in reverse. Or mirrored, which is always a good exercise when you're learning how to draw. There's her little thumb claw right there. And then she's wearing a t-shirt and some leggings. So her t-shirt dips down a little bit And then it's going to come over this leg that is reaching up. And then the neck of the t-shirt will be inside of the cardigan. And you can do 2 lines if you want. Then for her leggings, it'll be smooth on this side, and then we'll have just a little bump, a little wrinkle on the back of the knee for the other side. We'll have a bump on top of the foot as well, just like we had for Flash. And then we'll draw her long sloth toes. You might see her leggings connecting under her t-shirt. That's up to you. If you just want to have one leg go up, that's fine, or you can connect it over. So this knee is coming forward. I'm just going to draw this big shape first, and then her foot is pointed down. So we need those long sloth toes again. And then we'll move up to her face. I can erase any guidelines in her neck. We don't need those anymore. So her face is to the right, so we'll make her nose line facing the right. And she's going to look a little bit downward, so we'll have her eye line looking downward. And where those two cross, we'll start putting in the nose. Her nose is a little bit smaller than his. And underneath, she's got her smile. Having a good time. You can erase out the guidelines from the nose. I'll add her lip underneath her mouth. And then we'll draw in her eye sockets, which are a little bit bigger, but they still go downward on the outside. And she's got a fairly wide nose, so you might not see very much of her other eye. Her eyebrows go right on top of the eye sockets. And her eye is going to be a little bit more like an oval on the inside. She's sleepy too, so we'll have her eyelash line, cutting that in half. And then you can darken in her iris. And I'll erase out all the lines I don't need. You can give her a little cheek fur if you want. Add her nostril. And again, you can darken in her nose, and around her mouth. And her eyes. And then her hair goes a little bit longer, kind of in long bangs. And she's got that lighter colored fur from her cheek down to her chin. And she wears glasses, so if you want to add the glasses, let me zoom in a little closer. I'm going to go ahead and draw the part that goes over her nose first. Then we'll do a big line over her eye on that side, and a little bit shorter one on that side. Then we'll go around the bottom of her eye, and around the bottom of her eye over there. I think the two faces, when you compare them, she looks more like a sloth than he does, so that's okay. I can come back in and change his face a little bit. Some things that helped were the wider nose. I'm going to widen out his nose a little bit so you can see less of that eye. And she had a shorter mouth, like her nose, the distance of her nose to her mouth is very short, where his is a little bit longer. So I'm going to go ahead and change the position of his nose and mouth to match hers a little bit more. So there's his nose, comes around to his smile. And I'll add a little nostril there, darken it in. And then we'll give him a little bit smaller chin. There we go, he's looking a little bit more like a sloth now. Just goes to show that when you draw something and you don't like it, you don't have to crumple it and throw it away. You can just study it, see what you can change to get closer to the one that you want. And actually I'm going to change his lighter colored fur to come from his eye also, like hers does. So there's the changes I made to help him look a little bit more like a sloth. This is actually my first time drawing sloths. Kind of neat with their really long arms and claw-like fingers and feet. And there they are dancing. So next I'm going to go ahead and ink this and then color it. So I don't think there's anything I really need to say while I'm doing that, so I might just add some music or maybe just leave it silent so you can turn on your own music and see how I finish up this drawing.